I'm Bolivian.
I was born in Santiago, Dominican Republic.
I'm a Mexican American.
Their families are from different countries, but there's a thread that ties them together. They're all proud to be Hispanic. The U.S.'s 50 million Latinos have surpassed African Americans to become the nation's largest minority. They're growing into powerful voters, influencing business, and they're flooding college campuses. We sat down with 3 Latino college students from New York's Columbia University to see how their culture fits into a changing America. So Dan, your family's Mexican, Maria, your family's Dominican, and Isaac, your family's Bolivian. But to a lot of people, you guys are all Hispanic.
It's almost unfair to group us all together to a certain respect. I mean, Mexicans versus Cubans versus Dominicans. I mean, the cultures are very different.
As a Dominican immigrant, I might have some phrases and know some words that a Mexican might not know.
So, for example, Dominicans for beans say habichuelas and Mexicans say frijoles, right?
That's right.
But at the end of the day, they're beans, right?
There is a shared history, shared language, shared culture that does bring us together.
Another thing that brings them together, they're all in awe of one powerful Latina.
We got Sonia Sotomayor.
Sotomayor.
The first Hispanic ever to serve on the Supreme Court. So when she was sworn in to the Supreme Court, what were you feeling?
I was very happy, and the first thing I said, well, she was the first Puerto Rican, I'll be the first Dominican.
Big dreams they say they wouldn't have had back in Latin America.
My great-grandparents were miners. My grandparents were miners. Had my parents not migrated to this country, I would very much be, either mining or, working out in the countryside. I'd also likely be reading at like an 8th or 7th grade level.
When your parents came from Bolivia, what were the first jobs that they had in this country?
It's a funny story. My father, he served coffee actually across the street from Columbia University. So it is a really sweet irony that I managed to graduate from the college across the street from where he used to work.
That's a great story.
God, I get all emotional just thinking about that story.
They say it can be tough growing up within two cultures. Do you guys think that an issue for younger Latinos is trying to figure out, am I Latino, am I American? Because, for me, for example, my family's from the Dominican Republic. And when I go to visit to the Dominican Republic, they're like, oh, you're not Dominican, you're American. But when I'm here, people are like, oh, you're Hispanic.
Absolutely. I think when you have these identities like Latino American, so if you're a Mexican American or Dominican American, I know there's always the phrase that says we always fall somewhere in that hyphen. We're somewhere in between Mexican and we're somewhere in between American.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, because now you have 2 different perspectives. You have 2 different views of the world.
And you get the best of both worlds.
You get the best of both worlds. You get food in both worlds. You got your plátanos over here and you got your French fries over here.
I love it. Carve it up.
Carve it up, yeah.
Jokes aside, the government says that by 2050, 1/3 of Americans will be Hispanic, and they might one day dream to go a little farther than you think.
I would love to hear about, the next, spaceship going to Mars or the moon, and hearing that the person who invented that spaceship was a Lopez, was a Garcia, was a Lara.
Or a Diaz.
Or a Diaz.
Hello. To get there, they'll have to dream even bigger than their parents' American dreams.
Both my parents were in the first wave of Latinos accepted into Harvard. Their story is remarkable. It is what continues to drive me. I have to take it up a notch.
Adriana Diaz, Channel One News.